Da, 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 da.
Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it. We test it. You play it. And now it's time to blow off some steam, as Aperture Gaming is proud to present a B.O.S. review. Now, in today's review, we are reviewing a game that came out on the 9th, so sorry that this review is a little late. We are reviewing the Saboteur. Now, before we get into the actual review, there is some technical notes I have to go into for this game real quick, so hang on. Alright, so when I first started this game, after I installed it on my system, it said that the game runs on a .NET Framework 3.5, which I'm pretty sure is being shown on the screen right now. So, you have to make sure your system is up to snuff to be able to run this, because, well, otherwise it can't play the game. So, what is the Saboteur about? Well, hope you enjoy, because here comes the review.
Series.
Saboteur, while it came out on the 7th of this month, sorry if I said the wrong day, came out on the 7th, and it actually originally came out in 2009, so this game is a decade and a half old.
Team.
The team behind this game, it was developed by Pandemic Studios and published by Electronic Arts. Interesting fact, this game, the year that this game came out is when Pandemic Studios was closed by EA, and it actually came out a month after the closure.
Plot.
The game is set in Paris, France, controlled by the Nazis in 1940. You play as Sean Devlin, an Irish mechanic turned race car driver, and after his best friend is murdered by the Nazis, he becomes the Saboteur. He helps fight for freedom alongside the other freedom fighters of France. Now he is based on the real life Saboteur, William Grover Williams. That is who he is based on. So here's what: as Sean, your job is you go around and you are doing things to upset the Nazis' war effort, because they have stuff that's in Paris, and it's your job to harass and destroy the enemy in any way, shape, or form possible.
Gameplay controls.
Gameplay, here's what you do. It's balanced. It has a little racing aspects, but the other aspects are you have to run around Paris, climb on buildings, and you have to use firearms, stealth attacks, disguises, and explosives to basically hinder the operations of the Nazis. This includes playing explosives on guard towers or gas refineries, by taking out key targets and running errands for the underground and for various other people. And by doing these acts, and by destroying certain targets, you gain contraband, which you can then trade in at the black market to help you get upgrades, better weapons or abilities. And sometimes in the game there are these things called perks, where like if you stealth attack 10 Nazis, you can get a punching bonus, or if you use the sniper rifle, you get a better sniper rifle. So keep an eye out for that, because based on things you do in the game, you can then buy and or earn upgrades for your character.
Graphics.
Despite the fact that this game is a decade and a half old, it looks pretty good. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you have you can recognize certain areas and locations, like it is Paris, France. Yeah, so it's like basically imagine one of the Assassin's Creed games, only set a little further in the future. And honestly, this game was released 2 years after the first Assassin's Creed came out, so kind of reference point there. Everything looks pretty good. Good work with the car models. I really like the car models. They did a good job with that. The interesting about the game is it's a visual setting that shows between the oppressed areas under control of the Nazis and then the liberated areas. When you liberate a zone, it goes from monotone, black and white, / noir. It actually goes back into full color. Then that affects the residents, like how they will help you, and it indicates which areas are safe versus which areas are not. So very good, kind of stylistically. They also did a good job with the character models, and I like how the stuff that's interactable in the environment, the stuff that you can blow up, like the enemy tanks and the guard towers, and there's some things that you could specifically blow up, but it has to be done with sticks of dynamite. You can't just use grenades.
Audio.
The audio is pretty good. is what like if you're in the middle of an intense car chase, you have the action music, but once things calm down, Sean actually turns on the radio, so you get to hear some period appropriate music, and it's pretty cool. I like it. It's a very brass, big band, jazz, orchestra thing. Very good music theme, man. Like the cars, they also have good sound effects, and also you have the firearms and explosives going off. So really good audio work for the game.
Multiplayer.
No, there is no multiplayer.
DLC.
No, there is currently no DLC. I think there needs to be like the patch things to help fix a few things in the game. I will cover later, but there is no DLC. And I was checking, there was a DLC for when the game originally came out, but from what I read, it's already in there in the game. So there's no new DLC added. It's basically what the game was 15 years ago. They made sure to put it all in there for this release.
Issues.
Okay, so it is 15 years old. I've said it multiple times. I'm sorry. But yeah, so while there are some things you can tell how the game, you can see the game's age. So while I can't judge everything by modern standards, by current standards, there are some things. It's like, okay, first of all, in a few of the scenes I saw, like a random body part was just seen somewhere on screen. Like there was an elbow sticking out through a door, and then there was like a guy's hand just randomly floating somewhere. So yeah, there was that. And then when you're outside, while the environment does look good, there was some weird clicking effects. Like a sidewalk was eating up some stairs that were leading up to someone's house. So yeah, this game, it is, like I said, it looks good for, even though it's 15 years old, but clearly the graphics could, use a little spit and polish. I don't think we're gonna get it though. Another thing, here's what. Once I was pursuing a target, I was sneaking up behind him to take him out silently, but then the target just straight up disappeared. Nowhere to be seen or heard from. Yeah, so I was trying to take out a guard, and speaking of the guards, I think in some instances the guards are a little too sensitive. Like the instant I barely stepped inside of a suspicion zone, the game warns you about suspicion zones, but the instant I was there, they instantly started to open fire on me. I was like, oh, come on. And I'm on normal mode. I don't go for easy, I don't go for hard. I try to play very middle of the road. The controls also, they're a little clunky, especially when you're trying to climb up a building. It's like, okay, you can see the areas where you can and can't climb, and you have to constantly hit the space bar to jump up to the next spot. It's like, okay, why? I can move left and right, but I have to keep tapping this very specific button to jump up. And when you're climbing down, you have to make sure to push forward to catch the next ledge, otherwise you will drop down really far. Another problem is stealth. Like, here's what you are initially running in the game. You can actually make yourself run faster, or you can hold a button to. You run in the game. There's a button to hold to run faster. There's a button where you make yourself walk, and then there's a button where you're creeping along. And while I'm holding the creeping button, you're just kind of bent down slightly. But there have been instances where, like, I was climbing up something, and then my character was bent over fully. Like, now that is actually sneaking. That is actually creeping. But that's not in the game, so a little slight problem there. And another weird thing is the driving. So like I was going down a hill, so I didn't have to use the engine on my car. So I'm trying to steer, but the steering didn't respond or respond too well. Like I was like, wait a minute, I actually have to have the engine actively running for me to be able to turn. So yeah, there's that. And then the map. Okay, so yeah, you have a mini map in the corner, but if you want to see the full map, out of reflex and instinct, I was hitting the M key, but that wasn't working. No, to see the map, you have to actually pause the game, and on the left-hand side, you actually select the map feature, and then you have to, like if you have to view the whole map, you have to select full screen. And if you want to set up your own marker, you actually have to move the map around so the area you want to is in the center iris, and then you have to hit a button to place your own marker. Because you can't left click, because that doesn't do it, and right click actually has you go back until you're back in game. So definitely issue with the map and how it was set up. But one of the biggest things was when I eventually had to stop the game and go do other stuff in the real world or to get the footage to review it. When I tried to close the game, you select go to Windows, and the game will freeze. Like no visual stuff will happen, and this music will start skipping and start playing like whatever note you were listening to, you are now listening to that note repeatedly skip over indefinitely. And this is a serious problem. This patch, this is where the patch needs to come in and get fixed, because I tried opening the Windows thing and closing it. I tried closing the game, it didn't work. I tried closing Steam, it didn't work. Heck, I even opened Task Manager, and Task Manager wasn't responding. So for me to be able to do this, I had to say I was either switching users or logging off or shutting it off, and that's when the game would stop and I could get back to the regular computer desktop and controls. So yeah, that's a pretty big hit for it right there. So hopefully this patch will be fixed. I'm trying to figure out if that's an effect from the NET Framework 3.5 or is this some other problem, but hopefully that'll get fixed.
Buy, rent, or pass.
Aperture Gaming started doing video game reviews way back in 2013. So this game actually came out 4 years beforehand. So now this game is now officially the oldest title reviewed here on this site. And despite its age, it's pretty good. I'm like, this is an 85% buy, but as for the Ranger 15, I'd say is rent, because like I said, it just needs a few bits of tweak and polish to make it fully buy. But right now, 15% rent, but 85% buy.
Overall score.
Yes, so like I said, this game is old. Like I said, it's the oldest one I've reviewed on here so far, but yeah, I mean, it does a pretty good job. I mean, it's showing its age in some aspects, but I enjoyed playing it. I just think if it gets a few little areas fixed, it'll be even greater. Yeah, so also, when I was doing the research for this game, I found out that, like I said, it came out 2 years after Assassin's Creed, and I think I heard that it also came out around the same time, same year possibly, as another World War II based game called Velvet Assassin. So I think I'm gonna take a look into that and try to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, we here at Aperture Games, we give the Saboteur a 9 out of 10. So that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this has been Test Subject 1337 saying thank you for watching. This has been Aperture Gaming, and I'm glad we got to blow off some steam with a B.O.S.S review. Thank you, and until next time, game on, and have a nice day.